Right, if I had to start all over again, this is what I would do step by step if I wanted to make my first $100,000 in crypto. Now, since I got into the market 5-6 years ago, there's been a lot of things that have changed. So my strategy that worked in the past, last cycle, has developed a little bit this cycle. And I'm gonna go through a little bit of the changes and why you need to adjust for each cycle, because there's different trends and there's different narratives that you need to catch. A lot of the altcoins from last cycle are most likely going to underperform. That's why having your head to the ground and understanding what is going on in the current state of the market is extremely, extremely important. Now, one of the big things is we want to strip things back. We want to make things less complicated, because when people enter the crypto markets, they realize that there are 20,000, 30,000 different coins. There's thousands of coins being developed and launched every single day. It's overwhelming. There's influencers, there's Twitter pages, there's articles talking about you should buy this, you should buy that. And it can be extremely overwhelming. So what I want to do is the first tip, we want to strip things back, okay? And the first thing that I like to do is pick my base chains. And what do I mean by picking my base chains? Now, in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, there are a lot of layer ones, which are blockchains that you can choose from. What I see a lot of people make the mistake of is they buy all of the layer one chains. And realistically, you don't need to have an allocation in every single layer one. You don't need to hold Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, Polygon, Cardano, Algorand, some of the new ones, Sui, Sai. You don't need to hold all of them. You just want to focus yourself on a couple of key blockchains that you really like and you really resonate with. The other thing is, obviously, when I say resonate with, a lot of people try to copy other people and they end up not being very convicted with their plays, and that's what tends to make them overtrade, swap things out when another influencer talks about another blockchain, etc., etc. So when I say pick your base chain, you really want to do the research on, you know, what blockchain you resonate with, what are they actually doing in the market, what gap are they trying to fill, are they focused on gaming, are they focused on institutions, are they focused on, you know, making Web3 easier for Web2 companies, and what is it that resonates with you in that capacity. So for me, this time personally, again, don't need to copy me, but where I resonate is I resonate with the Solana ecosystem because I really like it. I like their products. I like their DeFi ecosystem. I believe in what they're trying to do. I've seen the data and analytics of what's been happening with Solana over the last 12 months, and it resonates with me. So my focus is on Solana as my number one base chain. My second base chain is Ethereum, but more specifically, the layer 2 scaling solutions on Ethereum, because Ethereum is slow and it is expensive. No one wants to be paying $25, $75 gas fees. So I want to look at layer 2 scaling solutions, and one of the layer 2 scaling solutions I really resonate with is the Base ecosystem, because it is obviously developed by Coinbase and Circle and all of that. And I think it's making it a lot easier to adopt, going from the Coinbase application, the Coinbase wallet, to then using applications and DeFi on the base chain. So those are the two base chains that I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on anything else. I don't want to focus on the Avalanche ecosystem. I don't want to focus on Tron. I don't want to focus on, you know, Cardano or Polkadot. I'm focusing on these two chains, and then I'm focusing on the next phase, which is we're going to talk about now, is categories within those base chains, because there are trends and narratives that you need to follow to help be successful in this market. And what are the trends and narratives that are really pulling this bull market, and what kind of allocations and what kind of altcoins can I pick up within those ecosystems? Okay, so a really good example of this would be, you know, decentralized finance in new ecosystems. We know that DeFi performed extremely well in the Ethereum ecosystem last cycle. You know, you got to look at Uniswap, you got to look at Aave, and then you can also look at BNB as the secondary chain that did really well, looking at similar kind of projects like PancakeSwap, which is the leading DEX on BNB. But this cycle, We've got to shift the narrative. What is the main blockchain that's getting a lot of attention right now? It's Solana. So what do you think are going to be the main DeFi projects that are going to do really well this cycle? Well, it's going to be the DeFi projects that are built on Solana. So those are the types of projects that I am personally looking at. Now, on the flip side, you have other trends and narratives. We've got tokenization of real world assets. This is a huge narrative. And last cycle, I was looking at RWA. I was looking at the likes of Alliance Block, Parsec a little bit. But I did have this gut feeling that we were a little bit too early to that narrative. And I was correct in that thesis. Those types of projects underperformed last cycle. But I do think this cycle we are ready. It makes a lot more sense. It's a much more bigger narrative with BlackRock coming in and developing its own tokenized fund called 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁. And we've obviously had institutional adoption from BlackRock opening up its ETF products as well, which has obviously helped with that. And they have been talking about tokenization. So it's in the psyche now that tokenization of real world assets is a legitimate sector that investors and institutions are seriously looking at. So when you're looking at RWA projects, you want to look at, my base chain, thinking again, what are the leading RWA projects on ETH or on Base? And some of those include the likes of Ondo Finance. You've also got Goldfinch. So there's things that you can look at in that ecosystem. So bear in mind that your portfolio shouldn't be a massive portfolio of altcoins. I think the biggest mistake that people make is they just have hundreds of altcoins. I've seen people come into our altcoin advantage in a circle, and when I do my onboarding calls and I'm looking through the portfolios, it's just a massive mess because they've just bought absolutely everything. Every single coin that someone has mentioned they've bought, and there's no real thought process behind the reason they're buying that project. And what tends to happen is, we talked about categories before, right? So we've got big trends and narratives like AI, RWA, we've got, gaming, we've got layer twos, we've got a bunch of different categories and narratives that are going to be trending this cycle. And they tend to hold like 5 or 6 different altcoins in each category. It's unnecessary. You don't need to. If you just know what the trending narratives are going to be, which is some of the ones I've just mentioned now, and pick one altcoin in each category, then that's great. And what you could do is you could pick, let's say you've got 4 categories that you really like and enjoy, and you've got 2 base chains, then that's 8 altcoins. And that's great. Plus Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, which should be your staples in your portfolio because that's going to add stability. Then you've got a good standing portfolio that's probably going to do really well this cycle. It's not overcomplicate things, guys. Honestly, it's really a lot easier for you guys to just focus on 8 to 12 really good altcoins, have a lot of Bitcoin to add stability to the portfolio. Also, Bitcoins are long-term holds. You could be holding Bitcoin for the next 5, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, however much you want. You've got Ethereum, which is a leading smart contract platform. It's ETF, it's regulated. And then you've got Solana, which is the next project to be regulated. In my opinion, there's, obviously ETF's already been filed, so it just makes sense that that's going to be the next one to kind of solidify itself as a regulated financial asset. So that's sort of thing that you guys should do. And that's going to be really great to not only have more of a passive altcoin portfolio, but also be managing your exits, because when you've got 100 altcoins, can you imagine trying to take profits on 100 altcoins? It's just never going to happen. It's never going to happen. There's no way you're going to manage it. There's different altcoins pop off left, right, and center, especially during altcoin season. You've got all of your altcoins going up hundreds of percent every single day. No way you're going to manage it. But when you've got 8 to 12 altcoins, a lot more manageable. All right. And that comes into my next tip is we want to set a plan. We want to have an exit strategy, okay? And there's a couple exit strategies that I'm going to introduce you to that I think will help you actually be successful and take profits in the market, okay? I'm not going to lie, it is easy to get into the crypto market. It is very hard to get out of the crypto markets. And a lot of people have this issue. And it's one of the reasons why I actually created the Inner Circle and the coaching program in the first place, because everyone had the same goddamn problem. It was, oh, you know, I'm really good at getting in, I've been buying, but I can never sell. And, you know, the simple thing to do is to just have a plan and have an exit strategy in mind. And also exiting with other people, you know, all doing it together. I think that's really, really helpful, because last cycle, I was doing this all alone. I had no one to lean on. I had no support, no one to talk to. I mean, bear in mind, I'm living in Bali now, living my absolute dream life. But, you know, back when I first started, when I was like 19, 20 years old, and I made like 6 figures pretty much overnight, or my first 6 figures pretty much overnight, it was like, well, what do I do? How do I exit the market? How do I deal with this amount of cash? What do I do with it? You know, so it's really good to have that kind of support there. And when it comes to exit strategy, again, it's another one of those situations that you just don't want to overcomplicate it. I feel like people make it really difficult for everyone to exit the market. It's really not that difficult. One of the easiest exit strategies that you can do is called a time exit strategy, okay? What we've realized over the past kind of couple of cycles that I've been involved in is that even though the price targets have shifted, what doesn't shift so much is the period of time in which a bull market is present. So for me personally, my time exit strategy is going from January of 2025 up until summer of 2025 to the back end of October. That's kind of the last straw, is going to be where we start dollar cost averaging, laddering out of our positions, regardless of the price, okay? Because I think what a lot of people do is they set price targets, they hear a lot of noise on social media, everything's in the green, everyone's saying we're going to 150K Bitcoin, we're going to 200K Bitcoin, we're going to 250K Bitcoin, and there's going to be a point at which those targets are not met, and you're left holding the bag. So the easiest thing to do is to make sure that you get ahead of the game, and you want to start exiting before everyone else, because then you become the exit liquidity. You are the person exiting that liquidity, and the ones who join the market in January of 2025, which is, in my opinion, a little bit too late, are the ones that are most likely going to have a higher risk of not taking profits and not being able to secure profits because they've joined just a little bit later on in the cycle. Now we're entering the market at the perfect time, and we're able to exit as prices go up. We don't want to catch the falling knife. We want to take profits as the price goes up, okay? So the easiest thing to do is to just set in mind, okay, if I'm going to have an exit strategy of 10 months, then take 10% out every single month. Are you going to catch the perfect time to exit? No, it's never going to happen. No one can time the top. But are you going to ensure that you are taking profits? Absolutely. And that's the difference between someone that wins in this market and losers in this market. That's a huge one. So put that in place. But yeah, those are my recommendations. That is it for this video. This is how I genuinely did make my first $100,000 in crypto. There is a lot more that goes into this, and what I will be doing is, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you do subscribe, because the next video is going to be about emotional stability, mindset. This is a lot of things that people do not talk about in this market, because the emotional turmoil that you're going to go through during this market, when you've turned a couple $1,000 into hundred to thousand, it changes your mindset, changes the way that you think about things, changes the way that you view yourself, and you need to be prepared for that to happen, because if you do set these things in place, that will happen to you. It happened to me last cycle. It happened to me when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. Crazy, crazy, crazy times, and you need to be prepared for it, all right? So if you want to be living your dream life like I am in Bali, and, you know, basically, you know, have complete freedom in your life because of cryptocurrency, or you want to retire, or you want to buy your house for your kids, or whatever it is, then, you know, this is the time to really, really focus on that. So yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you guys are looking for a little bit more support, a little bit more coaching, you want to be mentored by me and my team, I've got a link down below in the description where you can apply for the Inner Circle, which is a tight-knit, exclusive, bespoke platform that we've built where we can support you and coach you through this market and help you guys come out with, you know, a 6-figure, 7-figure portfolio this cycle. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you click the link down below and book a call with either myself or my team. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. All right, see you guys in the next one.